This is We the Sales Engineers Podcast, show 56.
Welcome to We the SEs Podcast, the show for sales engineers by sales engineers with your host, Ramsey Majaba. Ramsey cannot fall asleep on an airplane.
Hello, SE Nation. Welcome back to another episode. This is show 46, which means the show notes for this episode will be at wethesalesengineers.com/show 46. And last week we talked about humor, and everyone says that humor is important, but no one actually tells you how to get better at it. The problem is that humor is not the only, let's say, attribute of a sales engineer that no one talks about. There are so many other attributes that suffer the same fate, and I will be calling them the intangibles. All right. So what is that? Well, I'm sure you already know what the word means, but indulge me because this is an opportunity for me to use a basketball analogy. So I grew up watching basketball, and I came into the league, watching the NBA, around the time where the Chicago Bulls were going for their second three-peat between 1996 and 1998. The Bulls had a great team. It had Michael Jordan, who is the GOAT, and anyone who disputes that, meet me outside, I will wait. It also had Scottie Pippen, like one of the best defenders in the world and one of the top 50 greatest basketball players of all time. It also had Dennis Rodman. So Rodman was known for two things on the court. He had a funky hairstyle, and he got every rebound. I personally knew him for something completely different. I didn't know him personally, but when I watched him, I recognized something completely different. He had no skills whatsoever, and yet he was in the NBA and out-rebounding everybody else. I knew him for the fact that he wanted the basketball more than anybody else. So Rodman is the epitome of the intangibles. All he did was rebound, and yet he had a very successful career. He had multiple rings, as in like multiple championships with the Detroit Pistons. He played for San Antonio Spurs, and then he played with Bulls, the Lakers. He played for a lot of teams. People wanted him to play on his team, and it wasn't his personality that people wanted. It was the intangibles that he brought to the table. I still have a picture in my mind of Dennis Rodman flying through the air. He was actually parallel to the ground, trying to get a loose ball, or save it from going out of bounds. He didn't have to do that. As a matter of fact, he did not save the ball. The ball went out of bounds anyways. At least that's how I remember it. But he tried to get it. That's an intangible. No one would have blamed him if he didn't. But he tried, and that was his intangible. So what are the intangibles for SEs? Well, in my mind, it's every small thing that we do that cannot be measured, but will have an effect on our customers, our teammates, our companies. And we're going to talk about some of the examples. But let's talk about what is trackable for SEs. What we track is hitting quota or not hitting quota, the number of demos, the number of demos that convert, that close a deal, the number of deals that close without demos. These are some of the stats that we can collect. Like basketball, they collect rebounds, steals, points, assists, turnovers. There are many things that we can track. I'm not going to talk about those. I'm going to talk about the things that we don't track, we don't think about tracking, and yet have a big difference to our career as sales engineers. And some of it are customer facing, but a lot of it is just internal. That will make our teammates better. That will make our team better, our company better. And we'll discuss that in a second. So let's talk internally within our company first. There are multiple things that we can do that no one looks at, and no one would even blink an eye if you don't do it. One of which being helping other SEs. Now, although people can say that, hey, this guy doesn't help others, when you do help others and the amount that you help others, no one cares about. And you can answer an email, or you can pick up the phone and actually talk to them and walk them through something. These are two different levels of intangibles. One is like low level, I just did what he asked me, and the other one was caring, basically, and calling. So how do we help other SEs? Before we get there, actually, I want to point out that SEs are commission-based, and they actually have a base salary, which is usually between 70 or 80% of our income. And in my mind, that makes us as much as employees as people who work in sales. So it is part of our job, I think, to help other people. So now that that's out of the way, how can we help other SEs? Well, there's an official way that you can mentor SEs, but a lot of SEs don't have official mentors. I currently don't have an official mentor. I just use whoever is available and at my disposal to ask questions and ask for help. So we can train other SEs. Brand new SEs come on board, we can actually take the time, even if no one asks us, and reach out, say, hey, do you need help? Yes, okay, let me train you with this, let me train you with that. Demos. Well, a lot of times SEs are overwhelmed, or they go on vacation and someone schedules a demo while they're on vacation. Our options are either for them to postpone their vacation to do the demo, or postpone the demo to go on their vacation. A third option would be to ask for help. And if someone jumps in and does that, that's an intangible. No one counts on that. Just to be clear, I'm not saying intangibles are not visible. You would still get visibility in the team, at least, and even to management, that you are doing things that are going above and beyond. And support. So if someone's at a customer site and they're running into issues and they need help with something and you're available, then you can support them. There's also the option to actually document what we're doing as SEs in terms of whether it's soft skills or whatever, something we did with the customer or a new feature and we had to work on it. We can actually take that information, document it, and come up with a training which we can provide for the rest of the team. I know almost everybody says we don't have time, but you're already doing it. You're going to need to remember how to do it for next time. So it's always best to document what you're doing today, so you won't have to go through the relearning situation the next time you want to do it. So if you document it, spend an hour to train to do a WebEx session or whatever conferencing tool you use, how is that a bad thing? And why don't we have time for that? In a similar vein, you can actually take a config that you worked on. Let's say you worked on like a dashboard. If you have a SaaS, a dashboard which shows the information to managers. Almost people would be interested in that. So you can come up with like the configuration for the dashboard, share it with the team. That way, people don't have to repeat their work. And if you're doing that, you're leading the way. That's an intangible, one. And two, that will show others that they can do it as well, which means they would have to come up with their own dashboards and share them with you. So the next time you have to go show a customer something, you already have stuff already made. It's a collaborative effort, if I may say so. And it will help everybody in the long run. Something else that really bugs me is not going through the effort of making things easy for somebody else. For example, this is internal or external. If a customer emails you asking you about a specific product or something that you have nothing to do with, and I'm going to use an internal example. If I want to email someone like a product manager about some form of product or solution, whatever it is. And I send out an email saying, hey, man, do you work on this? Or is that your product? I don't know who this product belongs to. And the response is no. That's a pet peeve of mine. And I don't know if I'm going off on a rant, but if the whoever is on the other side knows who the person is who can help me, it will take them 2 seconds to include the name in the email or to forward the email to that person. So just doing that little extra step, that is an intangible that is so easy to do. It doesn't even take 2 minutes. It just input a name, Control K on Outlook, which will bring up the name uh, in the address bar. So these are little things that we can be doing, especially for customer. I've had customer email me about products that I don't sell. I don't even know what they are. And I take 5, 10, 15 minutes to find whoever the person is. Not only because I'm trying to be nice, but it's a relationship building. Hey, the customer is trusting me to get them information about everything about my company. I am my company's representative at that customer. And if the customer thinks that I'm the go-to guy, that's a good thing for me as well, as opposed to just the company. It gives me credibility with the customer, and if I can refer other people to the company, it's credit for me as well. And also little things like if a customer asks like how do you do this, and I have an entire user guide that talks about this and a bunch of other things. I've had this where, just so a little bit of background, I'm a generalist SE, which means I don't know everything about everything about all my products. There are products that I know quite like in details. There are products that not so much because my customers don't buy it from me as much. If I get a question about one of those and then I have to look it up or I email the expert and it's like, see the user guide. And I realize that everybody's busy. But the user guide may contain like 300 pages of information that I might have to go through. And if I do that to my customer, that means that my customer has to go through. And it takes a couple of minutes to actually find, like if I'm the expert, it takes me a couple of minutes to find the spot that would help my customer. And if I send that information, if I send the user guide plus, hey, look at this section, or I highlight that section, copy and paste it, or if they're asking for a data sheet about like some scalability numbers or what protocols we support, what features are there, and I just highlight that, include it in the email, it makes my customer's job a lot easier and my job, and makes me look good. Now, it's not gonna be like, oh, thank God you did this, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it. But if I don't do it, it might piss off the customer. It's like, what? You couldn't take 2 minutes to show me where to look? I know I get pissed off if someone sends me an email saying like, hey, read this. It's a 2-page thing in that 300-page user guide. All right, now that the tangent is over, thank you guys for listening again. A little thing that we can do is follow up with the customers. If a customer asks you a question which you don't know on the spot, we can just immediately follow up with them saying, I got your email, I will look into this answer, and I'll get it to you by this day. A lot of SEs that I know don't answer the question. Like they see the email and they start working on it right away, trying to get the answers. But sometimes it takes a few days, like send out the question. You can't find information on your own, so you have to send out the question to the responsible party, and then the responsible party doesn't respond right away, so you have to email them again and follow up with them again. This takes time, and although you are currently working on it, the customer may not know that. I like to do what I like to do is as soon as I get the email, so I'm like, hey, I got your email. And it doesn't have to be that instant, but within that day. I got your email. I'm looking into the answer. I will get it back to you as soon as possible or by this day. And then I go about my business trying to find the answers to the customer. And if I can't find the answer by that day, I will send another email saying, I didn't forget you. I'm still looking for the answer. It's taking me a little bit more time than I'm expecting, which sucks to say, but it's better than the customer sending you an email saying, hey, did you find this? What's happening there? And to tie it back up to the previous rant that I went on, when you respond, make sure, and if you're attaching something, make sure you put it like highlight the section that they need to look at. If it's a 300-page document, highlight the section that they want to look at. One, it makes it easy for them to find it. Two, if you actually did not answer the question correctly or you did not understand the question correctly, that section will highlight that, okay, you have no idea what I asked. Let me ask you again and clarify, versus going through the document trying to find an answer to the question which you misunderstood to begin with and might not have answered it at all. So it speeds up things. Another thing that we can do, a small thing, is pick up the phone. There's a lot of back and forth that happens through email. Someone sends you an email, you reply, they reply back, then you reply back, and goes on and on forever sometimes, it seems. And there's no end to this because some things is not understandable, whatever. And I know a lot of SEs are good at this actually, so you might already be doing this. Pick up the phone or do a WebEx. That will help us SEs understand whatever the question they're looking for, whatever answer they're looking for, easier. Helps us build a relationship. It's an actual excuse to connect with the customer. Customers don't always want to connect with you on your timetable. They want to connect with you on their timetable. So if you call them like in a month and say, hey, you want to grab a coffee or whatever, they may not be inclined to do so, but at this point, it's an opening for us to actually go in and have a chat with them, talk about things, and show them and be helpful versus just grabbing a coffee. And this is something that I've struggled with. Don't forget to answer the customer's questions. And I say I struggle with because sometimes I see it and I forward the email out to a PM or whatever if I don't know the answer. And I forget to put it in my calendar that, hey, follow up with a PM about this answer for this gentleman. So basically the customer ends up not having an answer to their question. And as an intangible, I pretty much sucked at it and I had to really work hard on it to have the discipline to actually put in the reminder in my Outlook, to actually answer the customer again. Now, here's maybe an unpopular opinion, and I would like your feedback on that. I like to send a thank you email to whoever I'm working with after we're done, or let's say part of this conversation where someone emailed me, a customer emailed me, and then I had to email a PM. We go back and forth. I get the answer to the customer. Some people complain about receiving an email just to say thank you. And I don't know if that's the case with anybody else, but I've had complaints about people mocking other people, saying, hey, I just got an email just to say thank you from someone just to say thank you. It's like, all right, well, if you don't say thank you, do you value their work? Or is it valuable would they want to help you again? Wouldn't a thank you be a good thing? So let me know what you guys think. I'm curious about that. One tip that I like is if someone helped you do something, mention them. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people don't. Some people don't do it because they want to take all the credit. Some people don't do it because just they don't think about it. But if someone helped me, and then like let's say I'm meeting with director of sales, and it's like, hey, good job on that opportunity. You did really well. And there's someone in the background that actually helped me. Whether they're there or not, I'd like to mention that these guys were instrumental in what I did. If they're there, at least they know that I value their help, and I made them look good in front of somebody bigger. If they're not there, I still made them look good in front of somebody like important in the company, and it may come back and they may hear that like, hey man, I heard that you helped Ramsey with this. Ramsey said you did a great job. That helps you build relationship, and they deserved it anyways. It's not like you're lying or making someone look good that shouldn't look good. Definitely don't do that. If someone's doing a crappy job and you're picking up the slack, don't make it look like they did an amazing job, because this will harm you in the long run. But make sure that they understand that you value their work, which comes back to saying thank you earlier on. All right, last thing I have on my list here is, for God's sakes, do not complain. I mean, we all have something to complain about, but complaining has never helped me do anything. If I complain, it just makes me look bad. But if I have a solution to whatever I'm complaining, I'll always offer the solution. If I don't have a solution, then there's no point in complaining, because nothing's going to change. So that was the last thing on my list. The reason this is a quick episode is because I am in my global sales meeting in Las Vegas. It's a Friday evening. I'm getting out of here tomorrow morning, and I just wanted to get something to you guys that is useful. So hopefully this will be helpful. I made it short and sweet, straight to the point, which is how I like to do things, anyways. So I thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being here. I really enjoy doing this, and especially the last couple episodes where I've gone solo, where I'm just sharing my thoughts. I'd like to hear your opinions on it. This is coming from like me personally. It's not an expert guest that's coming and giving us facts or at least their opinions. This is me, and I learn from you as much as you possibly learn from me, maybe even more, because I get to talk to a lot more people and ask them my questions. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's are topics that you want me to cover in a solo situation like this as well. And show notes are at wetheSalesEngineers.com/show 56. I didn't have any books here because, well, there aren't any. But if you want to check out like Dennis Rodman flying through the air, I'll try to find it and put a link to it in the show notes. I'll be reaching out to a bunch of you guys today and tomorrow, or maybe not tomorrow because I'm flying pretty much all day, to like whoever's on the email list, whoever subscribed to the email list, just to gather your information. I wasn't able to do it this week because I am stuck at the global sales meeting, which is fun and tough at the same time. If you guys want me to talk about like global sales meetings, how you can get the best of experience out of those, let me know. I got nothing else to say. With that, this is Ramsey signing off.